trying to check my battery.
Alright,
Oh,
so
yeah.
this is episode 1 of the Grindstone Adventures podcast. I have my buddy here for a guest over the phone, named Lane. He's a pretty shitty deer hunter, but I'll let him introduce himself.
You shitty deer hunter, huh? Okay.
Hey, you
All
know,
right.
who,
All
who,
right.
who killed the bigger deer this year?
All right. All right. With a crossbow, but hey, whatever.
That's all I had.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my name's Lane. I'm a carpenter. Currently live out by Toledo, Ohio, and this place is ass. So, moving as soon as I can.
It's flat as hell up there.
What's up?
It's flat as hell up there.
Quiet.
Flat.
Oh, that's why you said quiet. Yeah, no, I've been all over the country, quite literally, all over the country, and this is the flattest place I've ever been, and I had no idea growing up in Eastern Ohio that Ohio was the flattest state in the country.
Is it really?
Of all the states, I've been to over 30 states, and this is the flattest state I've ever been.
Were you in West? You were in South Texas, weren't you?
I was in Central Texas.
Oh, okay. Not far
Even
from.
like Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, more hills than here.
Illinois had
It's
some
insane.
hills, but it also had a lot of flat land where Megan lives.
Illinois, Indiana, all them hillier than here, bud. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll take the hills over the flat.
Any day.
That means high-powered rifles.
Yeah, it's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's tons of work, good wages,
Yeah.
not great for outdoorsmen. There's doable stuff. They have a lot of
Depends
good
on the
crews.
species.
Yeah, that's anywhere though, depending on what you want to do. They
Yeah, I
have
mean,
great park systems here, like state parks.
oh yeah.
The state park service is fantastic. Not for hunters, but for everybody else.
Yeah, I'm going to test out to see how well the West Virginia state parks are and maybe the Kentucky ones this year.
Yeah, the Maumee State Forest is huge. The public land for hunters here, the biggest chunk I think is 200 or 300 acres, maybe 4.
That's the biggest
Something
public
like
land
that.
you know of?
Up here, that's close, yeah. And it's
Oh.
got a dirt bike trail through it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Not for hunters.
Well, no, but, you can't control what happens on public land.
Yeah, for sure. I went and checked it out one time. Just walked around with my brother pretty much.
Yeah.
Getting a lay of the land, and I heard like 4 or 5 dirt bikes running on that trail.
That would have been cool to ride, but it probably would have been horrible in a tree stand.
Yeah, I didn't even take my tree stand. I was just walking around trying to see what was up down there, and saw one squirrel hunter and dirt bikes. Which the dirt bike section is only like a third of that whole public land.
You gotta think, though, too, that
Like 2/3 is wooded.
people ride through there probably pretty often, so the deer gotta be somewhat used to it. And
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'll tell you what, the other 2/3 of woods I went through, I didn't see hardly any sign. I didn't see droppings, old trails, a couple fresh velvet rubs, but no real hard sign that there's deer living in there very often.
what
But
time of year did you go?
This would have been October.
Really? No, not really any signs.
Well, the corn was still standing, and there's cornfields everywhere out here. Corn, soybean, you name it, it's out here.
That makes more
It's
sense now.
Yeah, extremely. The land out here is a lot of ag. Lots of ag. So I believe the deer there were living or staying near the corn.
Yeah.
Not venturing into the public land. They didn't need to. And I never made it out after the corn got cut to check it out again.
Yeah, it's
I'm
because
sure it's a lot better.
that refinery blew up, didn't it? Right about then.
No, that would have been December.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. November, Tuesday before Thanksgiving, November 2021.
mm-hmm.
The refinery I work in blew up. That was cool. No injuries. Everybody was safe. So that was cool. Got a lot of overtime. And then everybody thought it blew up again. Turns out it was just a relief valve. Got kind of plugged up or something and went off. And it was inside of a compressor house that blew the roof off a little bit. Nothing crazy. No serious damage done.
Well, you should have got some video of that. That'd been freaking cool to see.
So well, I wasn't there for the relief valve. That happened at like 7 p.m. I was already home, but the night shift guy saw it. I felt it at my house, actually. That was crazy.
How far do you live from here?
About 10 miles.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you lived that close.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go out on the main road, you can see the flares where they burn off excess product or bad product.
Yeah. I've been around refineries too much for my liking. Last week, the week before, that's all I worked around. And then Monday, I'm traveling out to that PA place to go to the Shell refinery and get training. So we can. They're going to use our crews as call-out crews. So if something happens, they call. If we're available, we go there. But I'm not turning down the work at this point, but not something I want to do.
Right. Now, refinery, I mean, you make a lot of money in a refinery.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's a shutdown, I'll make way more money, but...
It's not ideal work, I guess. I mean, it depends on who you are. I don't know.
Yeah. But...
You know, obviously it's very industrial, and there's asbestos and silica dust and all kinds of shit that's going to kill you.
Yeah. I mean, where we were working at, right above Parkersburg, just across the bridge in West Virginia, it's called DuPont, but we were working for Chemours Washington chemical plant, and that entire strip, probably 6-7 miles either way you go down the river, on no matter what side you're on, Ohio, West Virginia. The technician I was working with, he said it in California, if they look up where you're from and you're in a hospital, they see that you're from that area, they automatically charge you $5,000 because it's something. The nickname for the area is something similar to Death Valley or something like that, because all the chemicals blowing in the air all the time. I was like, well, damn, that's nice to know. I've been working in that for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
I mean, I don't know what all the plants do, but there is a lot of refineries no matter which way of 77 you go by the river.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, because they use barges and stuff to move stuff up and down the river all the time too. So.
Yeah, it's like up here with Erie, man. We got 2 refineries in Toledo, a power plant, a nuclear plant. There's another nuclear plant in Lima. It's like an hour or so south.
Yeah, I've heard about the one in Lima because my company's tried to send me there.
Yeah, there's a refinery in Detroit, which is like an hour or so north.
Yeah. Damn, you're that close to Detroit?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the border is only 15 minutes from my house into Michigan.
You ought to try and get a Michigan tag next year and go up and smoke one of those suckers.
It's weird. I forgot how it worked.
Is it different than, like...
Yeah, it's weird.
Really?
I don't remember how it worked.
Have to give Steve Ranella a call and be like, hey, how do I hunt your state?
Yeah, let me just dial it real quick. I'll call him up real quick. No worries.
He's like my best friend.
Yeah.
I can't.
There's a lot from the show, man. That's how I know as much as I do. That show and then the Working Class Bow Hunter podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And, AutoCast is a good one. And
dude, I can't tell you how surprised I was with the Meat Eater show and his podcast.
I didn't like it when I was younger, but I'm kind of a dry person.
I mean, I'd see the show on YouTube ads or little ads here and there across TV or laptop when you're online. I shrugged it off. I was like, oh, that's just another fucking dog and pony show, rich boy that never actually been deer hunting. He's got someone actually guiding him on fenced-in property. And then I sat down one day and I watched the episode. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's educational.
And I was like, what? I was wrong. This is one of the greatest hunting shows to learn stuff and learn how to cook it I've ever seen.
It is the greatest because, we grew up watching Drury Brothers and...
I still watch the Drury Brothers.
And all them. Yeah, they're great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking shit on these guys. You don't learn much. It's more of an entertainment thing. Mm-hmm. They don't tell you how to play wind and all that.
Well, they're starting to now with the DeerCast app, but that's because they're pushing it. It's their app.
Yeah. I guess that's been out for a few years now. I thought it was
about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I just got it this year, and I'm not
I've got it.
It's foolproof, but it's pretty fucking cool.
I've got it, but I don't pay for it, so I just get what I need out of it, and that's it.
Do you pay for Onyx?
I just got it last week.
Well, then you get DeerCast for free.
What?
Yeah, if you're an elite member of Onyx, you get you can get deer cast for free.
I'm gonna have to look into that because that'd be nice for like shot placements and shit like that.
Yeah, deer cast is phenomenal. I mean, you get a ton of information. My deer I shot this year was, or I guess last year, whatever, this season.
When did you shoot that again?
November 5th.
And he was a 6 point?
Friday. Thursday. Yeah, it was a small 8.
Oh, a small 8. I can't remember.
My first compound bow buck.
Hey, I ain't knocking it. I'm just saying I don't remember seeing it.
Oh, I know.
You must have got it when I was down here.
Next year I'll get a little bigger. It ain't my biggest buck, but it's my first buck with a compound bow. Nice little 8 point. I'm pretty happy with it.
I'm still waiting to do that. However, I do have 2 bow kills now under my belt, and both of them were bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I'm going to top that next year, or next season. I mean,
you got some potential bucks on your cameras.
I did pull the cameras already this year. Actually,
you pulled them?
Yeah, I pulled them because I was having trouble with my card reader, and my laptop and stuff is the only way I can read cards now. But I pulled the cameras. I'm going to reset. I'm going to go out when I shed hunt. I'm going to reset one of the cameras where I think that 12 point I showed you a picture of is. Try and pinpoint if he's still in the area because he was not on film. I haven't had him since before the first gun season, so I'm kind of nervous about that. But he looked like a 3 to 4 year old buck in pictures. I'm if he's on camera somewhere else, or I get him on camera later this year, then I'll relax a little bit about it. But with the Amish pressure that goes into that property for a month and a half, 2 months,
yeah,
it puckers my butthole when it comes to big deer. But I'm gonna reset a camera probably up in. Bad part is, I mean, if you had the map, I could pinpoint the direction the wind's always typically blowing, depending on which side of the road you are at Funkhauser's. And
you want here, man?
Huh?
Don't tell them your spot's on here, man.
Oh, it's private property. They can't get permission.
Poachers.
Listen, there's enough poachers around that area as it is. It's backwoods redneck Ohio.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way the wind's blowing on each side of the road, I can pretty much tell you where it is every single day. Because it doesn't change a whole lot because of just normal weather patterns. But the only access in is the easiest access in, because you're cut off by landowners on the backside. You typically travel with the wind, and that's not good, obviously. So it's hard to get in there. And I'm gonna try and figure out a way to get a stand or a climber back up in there for the next season. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna top that buck. Did I tell you what he scored?
Just under 150.
Yeah, an eighth of an inch under 150. Now it's not an official score.
Yeah, you go get it officially scored and see what happens.
Oh, I'm not doing that. The only reason I got him scored was so when people asked me, I had an answer. Because
if you did, I think he'll come up a little bit bigger than that.
Possibly. I mean, Jake scored it, and he scored his big buck that I thought was massive. He scored it like 133 or something. I was like, you need to redo that. Yeah, I was like, there's no way, because I think Jake's buck carried 4 inches of girth all the way out the main beam.
I have no idea, and I'm not a scorer, so.
Right, neither am I.
Guessing.
I'm not going to get mine officially scored because I don't want to pay for it, and I don't care.
Oh, I feel you. Yeah, I feel you.
But
I should get mine scored.
How far did you shoot your buck? Where was he at?
We were in 12 acres of woods with a nice creek ravine running through it with a fork. And I was by a CRP field.
Okay, on the where the pipeline splits it.
No, that's on the north side. I was more south.
Oh, back towards the pipeline 90. So you come down off the hill from where Mosley's used to live and back in the ways there.
Oh, no. I was across the street from there.
Oh, you're back up in where we used to ride and squirrel hunt?
Yeah, back over there.
Okay. I know what you're talking about now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's about 12 acres right there. And I did hunt that last year, and there's a ton of sign, but I never saw deer.
I've always seen sign up there. It's just, we never did anything with it.
Actually, I saw a stand in that little, across from the bridge.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm up over this hill. I got a funny story about this. Fuck. But on field, down the hill into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
It's like crest the hill, cross the fence, get into the woods, start dropping down into the ravine. And the way my stand was set, I was facing 2 trails, and I had 2 entrances from the CRP field on my left walking into me. Then I could see. And it was a rut. They were rutting hard. Saw 3 bucks that day. Saw a nice, I couldn't tell what he was at the time, nice bigger size buck, probably 3-year-old, I'd argue. Came in, looked in, checked it out. My wind was good, so I know he didn't smell me, but he backed out and went around, so I don't know why.
He was probably sniffing the area for a hot doe had been by recently, and when he didn't smell it, he probably just went look somewhere else.
I don't know, because he ended up walking right in front of me later. But anyway, I saw him a little bit after first light. A little while later, I see a spike buck run up the main trail. There's an old bulldozer trail comes down and then makes a loop.
Yep.
Spike took off, and I didn't pay him any mind. And I see this little 8-point come in. I'm like, first opportunity I've had at a deer. I've been hunting hard all year.
Right.
So for over a month, I've been hunting pretty hard, trying to get some meat in the freezer, and I was like, shit, first compound bow buck, that'll do.
Hell yeah.
It was at 14 yards, not paying me any attention at all. I had no idea it was there, and he took his head down to sniff. I thwacked him, and I'm all jacked up. He took off running. Still, my arrow's still in him. Not 10 minutes later, dude, I'm being loud on the phone with my brother. I'm all jacked up. That big buck I'd seen earlier, he's a 7-point. I got videos of him. Comes and walking that same path as the buck I just shot. And did the same exact thing. Bent over, sniffed the same spot, and then wandered off. I was like, motherfucker. My 8-point's not bad, but that 7-point's nice. It's huge. Next year he's gonna be a monster.
Was he super wide or?
He'll be a nice buck. He won't be a monster, huh?
Was he super wide or was he like just had it all tall, wide, good mass?
He was framey. I stole that phrase from working class bow hunter. He's framey.
Framey?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like nice basket to him, thick around all the way around.
He looks like a perfect buck.
Yeah, except for he's a 7-point. If he was an 8-point, he'd have that perfectly symmetrical rack. But I like it, I like that crab claw.
Yeah, he's so my buck then wouldn't be framey either because one side's so much wider.
No. Yeah, yours isn't really framey. It's like symmetrical. But yeah, and then I went up and talked to the landowner, my buddy's dad, who I was hunting on, and
what did he say?
We actually went up. We went to get breakfast. Actually, right after that, I wanted to let the buck sit for a little while to expire. And
yeah.
Went and got breakfast, and came back. Me, the landowner, and the landowner's buddy went down, and we hear some rustling in the ravine. It's all briars and thick, and can't see. And so I go down to the end of his property and try to bump him back up onto the property farther to make sure he didn't go onto the neighbor, so I didn't try to stick him with another arrow. Well, he got around me and ended up on the neighbor's property, so we pulled off and went down, got permission to come up, and I'd found him, and he's, breathing his last couple breaths, and I stuck him again, and he expired peacefully, for the most part.
I mean, yours sounded like at least a humane kill. Yeah,
it wasn't as good of a shot as I thought I made on him.
Where'd you hit him at originally?
So what I thought I got a little high on the first one, and I thought my arrow went, because I had him quartering away. I had a nice angle on him.
So you hit him high. Do you think you just hit lungs?
Yeah, I thought I double lunged him. High in the first lung, and the left lung, and then lower in the right lung. I thought I smoked him. So when you
cut him open, where do you hit?
I was a little farther back. I only got one lung and liver. It was probably 4 inches back than what I thought, which, sucks. But
right, so you probably should have gave him, most of the day and went in the evening to look for him.
Yeah, I gave him 4 hours. I thought that'd be plenty, and I should have gave him at least 6. I'm guessing. Who knows? Sometimes are tough for nails,
Well, you make me seem like a bad person now because of the way I killed my buck. Now, granted, he's the biggest deer I've ever seen in person, but I had to shoot him 3 times.
I mean, it happens, man.
I mean, I dropped him with the first shot.
I shot that one 2 times, you know?
Well, yeah, but that tends to happen with those back shots when you don't give him enough time. I shot mine and dropped him in a spot 10 yards from me. Nearly hopped out of the tree stand to break my leg, but I climbed down the ladder instead. Went to put another shot on him because he was slowly drowning because the way he fell down in the water was running upstream towards his face. So he was either going to drown and die horribly, or I was going to shoot him again and kill him quickly. And when I went to shoot him the second time, he flinched, and the arrow skid off his shoulder blade just underneath the hide, so it hurt him. That's all it did. It didn't go anywhere near killing him. And now, mind you, I'm shooting Meat Eater G5 broadheads that make 1.5 inch hole, so I'm pissing this dude off. I have to. Like I feel bad at this point, so I recocked the bow again, and then I sent one through his chest cavity from the front, rest under where his neck would be, straight through, and I clipped the back of his heart with that and took out a lung. But the first shot, it went through his spinal cord, and like it came in through the top part of one lung, so he would have died eventually anyways if he didn't paralyze. But yeah, I felt horrible because he was drowning as I'm trying to get him to stand or lay still so I can shoot him again. But I mean, I got him. Yeah, I walked up on him thinking he was dead after the second shot until I realized what had happened, and I grabbed a hold of his horns, and then I was instantly regretting that because, you know, when you think they're dead and they start putting pressure back against your hands, it'll pucker your butt.
Got freaked out a little bit.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I better, I bent over, pushing his head down on the ground, and got my legs without it out of the way, so if he did buck and spin or whatever, he wouldn't get my legs. And then I got pushed off him like a push-up and got the hell away from him, got the bow again. But yeah, I don't even know if I want to top another deer because that one's got a lot of meaning since Dad told me to go sit anyways. I wasn't going to go hunt that day.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's hard to stay motivated sometimes, dude.
Well, I thought I'd bumped him off the property because, you know, he was about a 5-year-old deer. And typically when you bump a mature buck like that, they don't really hang around very long. But I guess the saving grace was when I scared him the night before, I had the wind in my favor and I had a tree at my back, so he could only see slight pieces of me. So he must not have known what I was and just decided it was a fluke because he came right back to the same area the next night.
Yeah.
So.
When did you shoot your buck again? Was it still rut?
No, I shot him October 4th, so like 2 weeks into the season. He was still in his summer pattern, and when I was gutting him and skinning him that night, dude, it was like 75, 78 degrees. I didn't get to do what I'd like to do because when I shoot a deer, I typically want it to hang in like 30 or below weather for a day or two. And this time I had to I'd get him gutted, and it took me a while to skin him because I'd never done a cape skin before. And once that was done, I threw him in a cooler with as much ice as I could get at the house, and then I went to town and bought more ice and threw him back in the cooler after I'd quartered him out. And then I butchered him the next day. It's not ideally what I'd like to do. I'd like to let him hang a little bit, but you know, with 78-degree weather, you gotta get him moving.
Right.
But
yeah, early season was kind of rough this year.
Yeah, it was hot as hell, and it's probably gonna be hot as hell this coming year too.
Skiers were horrible, and I had a rough time.
I almost wore a mosquito mask a couple times out this early season.
Yeah, over on the public land out here, I definitely should have.
Get eaten up.
All of that marshy and shit, you know.
But all right. So you went out on an elk hunt last year to Colorado.
Yeah, my brother and I.
Did you go out? You went to the Southwest, right? Northwest.
Northwest, but like not that far west. Surprisingly, you're kind of more central, but
right around Colorado's main city. What's that? What's that middle one? Denver.
No, other side.
Oh,
Denver's kind of on the eastern side. There was no real cities around us. Like we think Carroll County, Ohio is bad. You know, you gotta drive an hour to get to Walmart.
Yeah.
That's like you gotta drive 3 or 4 hours.
So you were west of Denver?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you'd be
we
west of
can
Colorado
also do
Springs too.
Colorado Springs is southeast.
Yeah, just barely from Denver. And you weren't that far to where you were at Grand Junction, were you? That's almost on the
Yeah,
state line.
that's it. That was the big city near us, and it was 4 hours away, 5 hours away. We went down to I think 67 took us. We had to go through Utah to get down there.
Unit
There's no roads
67.
to get there. Yeah, southwest. I think it's 67.
There's 60,
Yeah,
61, 70.
Way the fuck down there, dude. Like,
There's 70s all over. I mean, you could probably get, 67 is towards the upper corner of the southwest corner. But
yeah, we could walk to Utah from there. It was nuts.
real well,
But we didn't.
I don't know.
There. We got there.
Looking at this, you weren't walking to Utah.
Looking
at where 67 is, you weren't walking to Utah.
Maybe it's not 67 then.
There's 70, 60, 61. There's all kinds of different numbers over here. I'm looking at the Onyx map.
We went to 3 or 4 different units.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's sick.
that's what a lot of people in public hunt out there do, from what I've been able to learn. But
Yeah, actually, man. You got other hunters pressuring, hunter pressure everywhere, and sometimes you just got to do that.
yeah, so what? Go through and give like a summary of what went down out there for you, because I know you said you didn't really see anything.
Oh, we didn't see shit, but the only elk. The hardest thing they tell you about elk hunting is finding the elk, and we were like, oh, okay, what unit is it? Yeah, pulled up right here.
So was Dawson calling most of the time, or was you?
He was calling. I did some cow calls, but he did all the bugles and everything. So where I live, I didn't want to piss off all my neighbors, and he lives in the country still.
Yeah, that's why I'm kicking around, because I'm going to go in 2023, maybe with you guys if you want to go at the same time. And I've been debating, do I want to buy a bugle now and start practicing ahead of time, which probably would be a good idea to get good at it, but I live in an apartment in the middle of the city.
Yeah, that's the issue is I don't want to be that guy and get the cops called and shit.
But I could go right up the road to a park and bugle out in the woods. Problem with that is it's 20 degrees outside, and I'm lazy, and I'm not home much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I was in a hotel, I'd not give it 2 shits to bugle and piss off neighbors at a hotel. But so you were out there in September or October, weren't you?
First week of September. We went a week before rut, hoping to catch the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And stay away from the muzzleloader guys. Our last day was opening day of muzzleloader day.
Yeah. Do you know they don't require people to wear orange out there gun hunting?
Yep.
I mean, it's going to change here in the future because they had a fatality last year.
I don't know if it'll change because of that, but I did hear about that. Yeah, he was standing behind some brush and the guy shot and
Yeah.
something along those. I don't know the whole story. I'm not gonna say who was in the wrong.
Yeah, I heard it on Meat Eater podcast, and Stephen Ellis. He said that the way he would fix it and set up the regulations is kind of how we have muzzleloader here in Ohio, or up there in Ohio, is it's after all the other gun season, it gets its own season. Separated completely. And, I mean...
What do you mean? It was a muzzleloader and an archery hunter, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
it was just like here.
Well, the difference is they don't require orange. And now they're... That was what Steve Renella's... That's what Steve Renella wanted to do, is move it to a complete different time and make it its own season.
No, I don't like that, actually. But, I mean, different opinions, whatever. But
right. I think they just need to wear orange. Yeah, put the orange on.
It's not that big a deal. Just
right.
wear it.
Deer aren't going to be able to see it anyways.
Even if it's just a ball cap.
Right. I mean, that's hunter safety course stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Hey, trust me, I don't like wearing an orange in a tree stand in the Ohio whitetail woods.
Yeah.
If I got a bow in my hand, but...
You feel like you stick out like a sore thumb, but...
And I mean on private land, like, fuck that.
Oh, yeah.
On public land, yeah, I should probably wear orange in fucking archery season, too.
I mean, anymore, I'm waiting for the contract with them Amish people to go or expire before I really actually get out to do any gun hunting again, and I stay away from the property while it's gun season now because of those Amish. So I haven't had to wear orange Except for when we went down to the cabin, you and me and Trenton.
Yeah, that was the last time I gun hunted, dude.
Yeah, same. And I have.
The kids too.
I kind of lost the thrill with gun hunting. Obviously, I like shooting guns still, but like bow hunting is such a more of a challenge that's kind of where I want to go with it.
Yeah,
So,
it's more fun, I think.
It is. It's more tranquil. You get more out of it.
It's more intimate.
Right. So, how many miles on average a day did you walk when you were actually out in there or in the wilderness, not truck hunting?
We truck hunted the whole time. We had to. There was
no access points.
No water. There was no water. Like we could have went out for a day, and then the next day we'd had to come back to the truck to get more water.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 2 days. We might have made it 2 days. It was 90 degrees every single day. One day it was over 100.
What would you have done if you got an elk?
Pissed ourselves first thing, and then been like, wow, holy shit, there is a God.
That now you have to deal with that heat. You probably lose some of the meat.
I don't know, man. I mean, it gets cold in the nighttime. It dropped 40 degrees.
Oh, did it?
It got down to 30 degrees one night after being 90 in the day.
That's cold.
It's a desert, man. It's a desert. You think Colorado, at least me, I never knew there was desert in Colorado. I always thought it was, big mountains, lush pines, blue rivers.
Yeah, that's what
some of it is.
I mean, that's all you see in the YouTube videos of people elk hunting, too.
Yeah, nope, that ain't it at all. It's hard rock, sand, sagebrush.
You think
no shade?
You think desert? You think like the desert and the plains and stuff? Like you think mule deer area?
Oh, we saw a bunch of mule deer. Actually, the only animal we saw in abundance of was fucking mule deer. We didn't see any bear like we wanted to. Did see 2 badgers. That was cool.
Did you see any good bucks out there in the mule?
Saw one nice mule deer buck. He was in a bachelor group with 3 other bucks, and they were all nice too. But obviously the big one stood out. He was I wouldn't say a monster mule deer, but he was big. He was nice.
You have to draw for mule deer in Colorado still, right?
I don't know.
Huh.
I have never looked to hunt mule deer yet.
Well, maybe I'll look into that because because I know you can in certain units out there in Colorado, you can double up for the same price and get a bear tag as well, and it's encouraged to double up. But I don't know about the mule deer. I have to look into that because I read the regulations on elk hunting yesterday.
I don't know.
But if it's cheap and you don't have to draw for it, then I'll buy both tags and I'll go out there and whichever one I get, I'll get. But I have heard that mule deer meat is not as good as what you'd think it'd be.
Never had it. I don't know.
I'm gonna reserve final judgment until I taste it.
Yeah, me too.
I know elk tastes good.
I cook it. Like when I cook it, not somebody else cooked it and I tried it. After I cook it and try it, and then I will say whether it's my favorite or whatever.
Right. Like I like deer burger, whitetail burger. I love deer steak. The way I cook it. I had someone cook me a burger. The way I cook venison, period, is it's got to be dead. I don't want any blood in it, nothing. And that's just my personal preference. Like hell, people make fun of me because of the way I eat steak.
How do you eat steak?
I'm not telling you because you'll hang up.
Oh, we're not friends anymore.
But
you put fucking A1 sauce on your steaks, don't you?
Huh?
You put A1 sauce on your steaks, don't you?
No, just salt and pepper.
Sweet baby rage. Oh, you don't even season them.
I put salt and pepper on it. It's all you need.
Fucking white boy.
Well, I am white. But when I cook venison, I want it dead, dude. I throw them deer steaks in a cast iron skillet, some onions to saute up on it, throw a little bit of light beer in there to cook in with it. It's all you need, right there, in my opinion. I've had someone cook burger, which I mean I cook burger the same way I would cook a beef burger. It's just I make sure it's dead in the middle. And someone cooked it where it was like medium or something like that. I don't know. There was a lot of pink left in the middle of that burger, and the gamey taste of it, the gamey flavor, and that, I don't know if it was buck from the rut or if it was just the way it was or butchered early. I don't know what it was. I couldn't eat it. I had to turn my head up to it.
I can't believe I'm friends with you.
Dude, I swear that game taste was bad. I don't even think we shot that deer. I think that was a roadkill.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've never out of whitetail, I've never really had that gamey taste be bad enough to where I think it's gross and won't eat it.
That was the only time I've ever had it. Every time since then,
maybe you cooked it bad, or maybe you're just a pussy and you don't like bloody meat.
I can eat bloody meat. I prefer not to. To each their own, though. I also did eat those 12 hours after they were cooked because I came home from working a 10-hour shift at the factory when I was up there still.
Oh.
And
So did
I
sit
heated.
out, or were
They were in the fridge, but they weren't covered.
Oh.
So I ate them 12, 14 hours after they were cooked. So who knows?
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like my steak bleeding on the plate.
Yeah, you like
the way God intended.
You're like.
Actually, did you know? And I think I'm not gonna say because I don't know for sure. There's a religion where you are not supposed to eat, and it might be. I don't know. Anyway, you're not supposed to eat bloody steak. You're supposed to cook all your meat all the way through.
That's a religion?
And it was like in the Bible thing, like all meat is supposed to be well done.
Is it Jewish?
I don't know. I was gonna say Jewish, but
because I know Jews.
No, for sure.
Jews can eat pork. It's the Muslim that can't eat pork.
I think Hebrew can't either.
Huh?
No, Hebrew's Jewish. What am I talking about?
That's weird. I've never heard that.
Something I don't know. I'm not even religious. I don't fucking know. But
I might look that up. That's kind of interesting.
It was interesting. I saw.
You said they have to. It was a religion.
On it.
A religion that always cooked their meat fully through.
Yeah, it was like they couldn't eat raw steak or anything. It had to be fully cooked, no matter what it was. And for the life of me, I don't remember where I saw that.
Let's see what Google says. Obviously, the first one that comes up was Jewish law.
Yeah, maybe it is Jewish.
I don't know.
I feel bad for him.
I know, right? Missing out.
Yeah, for real.
There's a lot about.
Well, what are you talking about missing out? You don't eat rare steaks.
I've had it before, though, so I know what it's like. I don't know, but it's not coming up with anything what you were talking about. But the Jews, man, that's a tough religion. Like, there's limits on what kind of milk you can use, too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's weird. Like,
that's crazy.
I guess they can only have kosher steak.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, right there it is. Kosher. That's what you're talking about, I think. Would it be kosher to eat a steak that is cooked medium rare? I ask because it seems that there is still blood that comes out of the meat when cooked like this. Should steak be well done? Answer. The laws of kashrut require the extraction and drainage of all blood from beef or fowl within 72 hours of slaughtering. This is
not beef. You're good.
This is accomplished through a unique soaking and salting process. In some instances, some through broiling. The red liquid that remains inside the meat after this procedure is not halachically considered blood. It's just meat's juice and is 100% kosher. Wow, I could not do that religion.
I can't even do like regular Christianity, and it's the easiest one probably. Like Protestant.
Well, actually, non-denominational is probably pretty easy. I should know because I am non-denominational.
So am I, and that's so like Protestant kind of covers non-denomination.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, cause like on dog tags, if you tell them you don't have a denomination, they just put down Protestant.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's what mine say.
Wow. So what are you recommending you do this year for you and Dawson and that elk hunt you're doing this year? What kind of tactics are you going to do differently?
We're going to go on a Colorado over-the-counter DIY elk hunt like we did last year. No outfitter, no guide.
Yeah.
Because we're poor. I mean, not really. We do all right for ourselves, but, it's just expensive.
Yeah, it is. I mean, tag's just under $700, and then for us to get out there from Ohio or West Virginia, it's almost 20 hours.
We took his fucking 10, 15-year-old Cummins down there.
Yeah.
Because what we had, it was take his truck or take my little fucking Sweet 16 car.
That has no room in it.
No room in it. It gets great gas mileage.
Yeah, but if you ain't got the space to put anything.
It's a pretty bitchin' car, though, for all intents and purposes that I have for it.
I mean, you get around pretty nicely on it. Now I'm spending hundreds of dollars just to come home.
These Koreans know what they're doing, is all I'm going to say.
Who is it?
Koreans, Hyundai.
Oh. Yeah, Mom and Dad and Megan all drive Hyundais, and I drive a Silverado now.
Not so bad. Beaters with heaters, you know what I mean?
I grew out of the beater with heater
we were going to
stage.
take that fucking thing. So, I ended up, I don't remember. We broke something from the rough roads. You definitely want full drive out there.
Yeah.
I was going to buy a minivan for like $1,500 so we could take that out there.
It'll probably bottom out.
Would not have made it on those roads.
Yeah.
No way. We would have bottomed out. It would have been horrible.
Yeah, I'm probably going to take my truck out there when I go.
Yeah. Ideally, in my opinion, the ideal vehicle for that kind of shit would be crew cab truck with an 8-foot bed with a cap on top. That would be probably the best thing.
Yeah.
Or like a van or something.
Yeah.
Do that.
My truck's
like
only.
An Astro van.
I got a 6.5-foot bed with a double cab, but.
And that's more than enough for just you.
Right.
Know, honestly.
Which, even if you and me both go out there at the same time and we go out to hunt together, I'm still probably going to drive separately because I'm going to have a shelving unit and a cap in my truck. So.
Right, because you got a plan to take meat home. So we estimated two them giant like 50-gallon coolers or whatever.
Like Mike has.
For elk.
Oh, bigger than what Mike has.
No, yeah, like those big ass white ones he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 of those.
Oh, no kidding.
That was just for us to have enough, you know what I mean? And him and I, we had a tag, but, we were kind of realistic. We're like, well, we're both retarded. Probably not going to even get an elk. But if we do, what's the odds we'll get 2?
Right.
And if we need to, we'll fucking go get one from a town or something.
Right.
But, yeah, we ended up having a truck hunt the whole time because there was no water. So this year we're going to find somewhere with water, like streams, creeks. There was one cattle pond there that was really fucking nasty, and there was one, like, stream that ran, like a creek ran through. But, the cattle that the ranchers leased, it was gross. We weren't going to eat it. I think even filtered, we would have got sick from that water.
Yeah, that sounds like iodine pills wouldn't have done nothing for that.
No, and we were, I think, 30 or 40 minutes from the nearest gas station.
Yeah, so you would have been out there power gripping a tree.
Yeah, every other day we drove it to that gas station and bought them out of jugs of water. And there was a bunch of other hunters there. Some guys had nice camps set up and, knew what the fuck they were doing.
And then there was you.
There's this oil pad. We hiked to, and we're looking for elk sign. We saw a lot of elk sign, but none of it was very fresh. And so we kept going farther down. And we were putting in. Well, the first time we got to a spot and were able to take off, we didn't find any fresh sign or water, but we went 4 or 5 miles deep just to turn around and the same day come right back to the truck to go to another unit. And that was like that unit was, we were on a bench the whole time.
Yeah.
But we couldn't move up or down the bench with 60, 70 pound packs on. You know what I mean? Like
it was thick.
Not feasible. Not feasible for there not being any water there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at the very bottom of the mountain there was, but
to get down there,
you couldn't hunt down there.
You probably wouldn't see much.
Oh, that's where the elk would have been.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
We went to that one first because it had the best success rates. But there's been a 2-year drought that we didn't know about in that side of Colorado, so there was no fucking water. Anyway.
So you're gonna hunt somewhere with water. You're gonna hunt somewhere.
Yeah. But we were hiking, so we hiked past this oil pad, not seeing anything, ripping calls and stuff as we came up with a different game plan. I forget what it was, but we're coming back. We dropped packs by this oil pad so you can drive up to it.
Mm-hmm.
go all the way 2 miles to the truck through this mountain and ridge line, and then cross this stream and this marsh to get to the truck on the road. Get to the truck, I look at my brother, I'm like, oh fuck, you got the keys, don't you? Because we're both retarded, I knew to ask, but I didn't
put him
know
in the
to
pack?
ask until we were at the truck. And he's like, fuck. And we were like, motherfucker, like, we had to go 2 miles back, up the fucking mountain, all the way across the ridge, down the draw, up to the oil pad, grab the keys, and then all the way back.
At that point, it would have been just take your packs back anyways.
Actually, we might have, I don't remember.
I say it wouldn't have been worth driving all the...
No, we didn't. We just drove because we were exhausted. We've been hiking all day.
Right.
And we were out of water at that point, too. It was in the truck. That was a lot.
Yeah.
But we're sitting in the truck chugging water, and these two guys come walking by, or driving by. They're going home. They're from Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys from Idaho who have, nice elk in Idaho, coming all the way down to Colorado to hunt. And I was like, why are y'all coming down here? And they're like, well, dude, the wolves are so bad up there. Because they reintroduced wolves up in the northwest United States.
Yeah.
And the wolves are so bad. They go out and they slaughter herds of cattle and...
Yeah, and you're not allowed to hunt. You're not allowed to hunt them at all right now.
Yep, you're not allowed to hunt them.
I know there's been conservative places or people and groups talking about trying to get legislation to let there be certain tags for it, but I don't think they've made any progress on it.
I don't know if they have or not, but they need to because it's ridiculous. Wolves, and everybody argues, well, wolves are from, we used to be wolves here. There used to be wolves all over the United States.
Yeah, but there wasn't a bunch of people going out there and milking cows and giving all kinds of different food. Nature balanced itself out back in.
Well, yeah, but there's no predator for wolves, and we're the only predator. We're the only thing that can manage wolves. Mm-hmm. Just like how the Midwest have issues with coyotes.
Yep.
It takes us to manage them because they don't have predators.
And they breed every year. At least 4 to 6 pups every year.
But wolves are savages, man. They're fucking... They'll kill and not even eat the meat. They just kill to teach the young.
Right.
They don't eat it.
I mean, they're pretty big, too.
Oh, yeah. For sure, but...
Every bit of 60, 70 pounds plus.
These wolves, they're scaring hunters out of those northwest states because they don't want to get attacked. Or... get attacked, shoot one, and have to deal with the legal consequence and blah, blah, blah.
And go through the investigation.
Yeah, we were bullshitting with these guys, and they took a shot at one, and I missed. They were 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
Knew a hell of a lot more than I. But, yeah, we just couldn't find them. We saw one elk the whole time. It was a cow elk. We were driving back from that gas station from getting water, and it ran out in front of us on the road.
And you're not allowed to hunt within 100 yards of each side of the road.
Not
allowed to hunt for each side of the road about 100 yards out.
Yeah.
Did you get either sex or did you get bull tags?
So if you go and you can buy...
I don't think the price is different.
We got either sex because, we were going to shoot whatever we could.
Right.
Right off the rip. I told my brother I was going to wait till Wednesday.
Yeah.
But by Monday, after not seeing shit, I was ready to shoot whatever. Cow or bull, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was a hell of an experience.
Yeah.
It was an expensive experience. You're missing work. You're missing a week or so of wages.
Yeah.
And then we always estimate about $1,000 in gas. Depending on where you live and what you drive, obviously.
Depending on who's president.
Yeah, the price of the tag. Colorado elk tag was like $650 for us last year.
Yeah, it's about $680
now. You need to buy a quality frame pack that can haul heavy loads. You need to buy a really good quality hard stiff sole boots so you don't fuck your feet up. You need to buy a decent shelter, tent, tarp, bivvy, whatever. Decent sleeping bag. It's 90 degrees in the day, but it did drop down to 30, which was our only cold night. The only night I got cold. But I put my puppies on and I was fine. You need to buy, good arrows, good broadheads, quality setup, gear setup, dialed in,
Yeah. I mean, you guys had a lot of issues and you like struggles that you went through, and you weren't even filming. When
It's
I
just growing pains, man. That's how you learn. We did it the hardest way you possibly could because it's the cheapest way you can.
yeah,
And we kind of wanted to do it the hard way anyway and learn for ourselves.
right. I mean, that's how a lot of people do it, though. They learn by doing it themselves, starting out the hard way, and then they work their way up to where they can go
I
out.
shouldn't say doing it ourselves. YouTube's a hell of a tool.
Yeah, that's how I learned to work on vehicles.
But it's kind of one of the things that you don't know until you're put in the.
You don't know what
Like
you
it's
don't
like
know.
hands-on learning.
Yeah,
We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We went down there watching countless hours of YouTube, and like Elk Shape's a great YouTube show to watch for elk hunting.
elk shape.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he's fantastic.
Yeah,
Elk Shape, yeah.
I think I've seen some of the videos the last 2 days.
And Meat Eater and Hunting Public, I like them a lot.
Yeah, hunting public's with the younger guys that go out and pack a 4 to go public land hunt, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mostly do whitetail, but yeah.
Yeah, they say those guys. I've watched about 4 or 5 of their videos the last 2 days since I've been doing all this research on Colorado elk hunting, and they actually, no matter what video you're in, whether they get a bull on the ground at the end of the video or not, they tend to find a lot of bulls, or at least get on some cows.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't. That's what we got to figure out. How the fuck do we find elk when you're elk hunting? Like, we didn't cover as much ground as we should have been because we were
yeah,
in whitetail mindset, I guess. Like, we weren't going as fast, we weren't moving fast. We were trying to kind of creep everywhere we went, not spook anything.
yeah,
And then actually that elk shape guy, it was his buddy or intern or something. He was from Michigan, and he's like, "This is a message to all the Midwestern guys out there.
it's
You're
not
not
whitetail.
whitetail hunting.
Get
You
up.
gotta move. You gotta get to the next ridge. Get to the next ridge. Hurry, hurry, hurry.
Yep.
All day long until you get on elk."
Yeah.
And we found that out the night before. We watched that video the night before our last hunt, I think, our last day of hunting.
So it's
And it was too late.
yeah, it's
too
like
late.
too little, too late. Because those
Yeah, it was
hunting
just
public
burnt
guys,
out, man.
those hunting public guys, their first day, they're walking 6, 7, 8 miles in, and then they're going further as their trip progresses. And when
That's what we wanted to do.
if they get one, they're hiking 10, 20 miles back out.
Oh, yeah. Look up Aaron Snyder sometimes. He's a big Western hunter. He's from Oregon.
Really?
Yeah, he owns Kafaru now. If you ever heard of Kafaru packs,
No, I haven't actually.
they're some of the best packs on the market. But, like frame packs.
Really?
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's got Kafaru cast. Him and his buddy do that. He's awesome, man. Like, he owns a company, and he's like, it's just a normal dude,
Kind of like working class.
redneck working class dude. Yeah, he would get laid off or get fired from jobs because he was hunting too much. He'd get off Friday afternoon, pack his shit, go hunting for the weekend for elk or mule deer or whatever. He spends half the year in mountain. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Cool guy to listen to. Obviously, I never met any of these people I'm talking about.
All right.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, he's cool. I like his shit a lot.
I'll look
It's
at it up
pretty
here.
real,
I'll probably look that up tonight while I'm
very
figuring out.
straightforward.
Yeah. I'll look that up tonight. So the one thing I wanted to get to is you and me both watch a lot of YouTube video hunting shows, informational stuff like that. Whether it's whitetail, elk, or any other species that we're interested in hunting. We watch a lot of videos on it. So what I want to know is what shows have you watched? You don't have to say the page name or anything like that or their actual name, just like what have you learned from all the different shows you've seen? Whitetail, elk, doesn't matter.
It's all kind of the same, like working. My brother got me into working class bow hunter. My brother, I've been listening to him for almost since they started. I think like a year or so after they started. I think they're 5 years old. But and he'd been doing the research and stuff. And then I left Ohio and went to the Army. So I got out of hunting for a little while. come back, my brother's super knowledgeable compared to me anyway, and he got me into this podcast called Working Class Bowhunters Podcast, and just listen to these guys bullshit around, drink beer, bullshit, make jokes, laugh and giggle, and talk about hunting stories.
Have a good time on camera.
Listen to these guys, and then they got big all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they do a lot of work with juries.
Waddell and T-Bone and Drury's on there, and
You forgot Nick.
Nick Mont, yeah, sure, but like, yeah, they're having all these people on there, and it's crazy. And
right.
I'm listening, and I'm learning about the wind, and the wind was always something. My grandpa just used to say, "Play the wind."
Yeah.
But then he wouldn't do anything if the wind was bad, so then I wouldn't think of anything of it. Like, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, we kind of had this conversation, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, the wind is the most important fucking thing. Like,
it is. If the wind's not right, you need to come up with another plan.
Play thermals. Thermals are huge.
I'm still learning about thermals. I've taken what you taught me, and done some research.
I am too.
But
they're hard to play sometimes, depending on your landscape.
I mean, I'm no professional hunter. I do know more than probably my brother or my dad, but that's because I've doing a lot of homework the last 3.5 years on hunting. Because like you, I went to college right out of high school, and I didn't get a whole lot of opportunities to hunt because I just didn't go home or take the time to go out and hunt when I was in college. So that's on me, unlike you, where you had the Army keeping you from doing it.
My 4 years away, I got to sit, and I sat in the blind. My brother set up at my grandpa's for 1 weekend was all I got to hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, mine was just I was too lazy pretty much to do the work to get out there and hunt when I was in college. But since I got out of college, the amount of information I've forced myself to learn, and now it's to the point where after the last several months of things getting hard, me moving away down to West Virginia and stuff, like the woods and all that's all that gives me peace of mind anymore. But I can tell you this, I haven't shot the biggest deer. I'm not a professional, but if I'm going to give someone advice on starting out to hunt, learn to hunt the wind. 94% of the time, it will help you be successful. There's only a few times where you can mess up the wind and be successful with a mature deer, big bull elk, don't matter what the animal is. If you're not paying attention to wind, you're going to fail, pretty much.
And seriously, you got to learn to play thermal, too, because that's just the same as playing the wind.
Yeah. I'm still learning about thermals. But our one buddy...
The heat of the day, push or rise your scent.
Right, and I bet that's a huge thing out there in Colorado.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, because you're in different elevations the entire time.
Mm-hmm. If you got good wind, but then the sun comes up, now your wind's rising. If you're in the bottom of a hill, it could fuck you. If you're on top of a hill, it could fuck you.
Right. It all depends on where you're at.
The sun's starting to go down, it's 20 minutes till sunset. Your thermals start dropping. They're gonna fuck you.
Right. You got to know, and like you said, it resorts back to you have to know what your wind is doing at all times.
And it's incredibly hard, especially to stay still in a tree stand, and then just get your puffer out, or your milkweed, whatever.
Yep.
Pain in the ass,
It is. Though. And say everything I've learned the last 3 years, I can credit to a couple different shows. I'm still kind of new on the Working Class Bowhunter, but I do like their show, their podcast, and I've learned some things from them. But the main place I've learned everything is Whitetail Edge. Ben Rising. He used to work for the Drury Brothers back in the 90s, 80s, somewhere in there, something like that.
I didn't think that guy was that old.
Who? Drury's? Or Ben Rising?
Ben Rising.
He's gray, completely.
Oh, I never watched it. I just assumed.
But I mean, he's probably not more than 40, late 40s, early 50s.
Huh?
But he used to work for Drury Brothers in Mossy Oak. He ended up splitting off and creating his own show, Whitetail Edge, and he's based out of the Hawking area in Ohio. That's where he works and does his thing. And he's actually his day job's a logger. Of all things, yeah, he's a logger. But he hunts Kansas, Illinois, all over the freaking place. And a lot of his stuff that he does, like it's not meant to be I don't think it's meant to be instructional hunting videos or educational, but the way he goes about it is educational, and I've learned a lot. Like, he has scent killer stuff he uses that I started using this year, and I had my buck under me at 10 yards, and then later in the season I had another buck under me at 10 yards. No idea I was there either time. He uses a black rack and extinguisher calls, and I just bought some. I've never been able to call deer in. We'll see how it does next year.
I don't.
He uses the
Not that I'm against calling or anything. I don't know how to do it. You know what I mean?
I've learned a lot.
With it, so I would rather sit there in my little ninja tree stand and
be quiet.
Hit them without knowing what's going on.
Right. Well, I know in the rut, if you're in a good area, you can get a lot more opportunities if you know how to rattle and get a grunt going and have the different pitches and stuff. So that's my goal this off season over the summer, is to learn how to do that. He uses G5 broadheads. He uses the Mega Meats, and I shot my deer with the G5 Meat Eater crossbows this year. They're dangerous blades, man. I tell you what. Everything that I've learned and I've put into use, I credit him and his show for me getting my buck this year. I mean, there's no other way I would have been in the right place at the right time.
Oh, that's how I am with working with Bonner and my brother.
Yeah, well, that's not true. My dad did get me out of the house and to the tree stand that night, but you know what I meant.
Yeah, so, man, it's hard to stay motivated sometimes.
Right. But everything I've learned to get close to deer and get good encounters with deer, and to even give me the idea to start doing the YouTube channel and everything, came from Ben Rising, the Drury Brothers, and Bone Collector. I mean, Bone Collector is they don't do a lot of trophy shaving, but they don't shoot anything but mature deer. They just don't care what's on top of the deer.
Everybody's got their nits. And
the Drury Brothers have all kinds of different hunting shows nowadays, and they shoot monsters every year. Like, I think Mark just shot a 200-inch buck this year, or just missed a 200-inch club.
490, I think it was.
Yeah, it was a freaking stud. And
maybe I'm wrong.
But then Ben Rising, he shoots mature deer only, and he aims for 5 to 6, 7 years old. So if they're not a certain age, he's not shooting it anyways.
Yeah.
And that's the way I am, and that's why I set my channel up the way it is. Like, I don't care what you shoot. If it makes you happy, I can't disagree with you if you shoot a spike buck. I mean, it's your tag, but I'm not going to agree with it. However, if it makes you happy and you got good footage, I'm gonna put you on the show. I'm not opposed to it. My personal belief is to shoot something 4.5 years and older every year. That's what I'd like to do, whether it's a doe or a buck.
It's just good management. It's good conservation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people talk shit about trophy hunters. But it's not like the meat goes to waste because they shot a trophy buck. It's not like they just want the rack. Trophy hunters also still eat the fucking animal.
Right. I mean, you do have those douchebags and stuff, but
taking the best buck you can and working your ass off to get to that next level of next level of deer, next level of age, antler quality.
I mean, if you take every hunter and you take them back into their basic beginnings of where they learned deer hunt and stuff, I guarantee you there was not many horns on any of the deer they killed. Maybe there were, but mostly probably not. My first deer was a doe, and it's never been about what's on their head for me. It's always been the chase, the experience, being in the outdoors. That's always what it's been. And I like eating them.
I won't say I wouldn't want to kill a big buck ever, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I want to, but it's not the highest priority.
I got my compound bow buck notched in my belt.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will focus more on a more mature animal next year.
I don't know that I can sit back next year, even though I haven't killed a bow with a deer with a compound bow, because of. I mean, I shot just under 150 this year, so it's gonna be. It's gonna be hard not to try and top that, but at the same time, like, if it's a 4-point that I know has been on the property for years and years, it's gonna be hard not to pop him too.
Oh, absolutely. You know.
But
I've never even shot a buck that big. My biggest buck's maybe 120, maybe a little more.
Right. Like I said earlier, the only reason I got him even unofficially scored is when people ask me, I have an answer now. I don't care what he's going to score. He's going to look good in my apartment.
Yeah.
But
I don't. Yeah, I don't give a shit about a score.
It's all about the chase for me.
But I want to kill quality deer. I don't want to kill young deer
anymore. Right. That's kind of why I'm hanging up the bow for the season, because I don't want to go out and slam a doe because she's carrying.
Yeah, but my freezer, even with that buck.
Right. I mean, my buck, after I skinned him out and gutted him, was still over 200 pounds. So I'm not worried about meat this year because my buck was a pig.
Yeah.
Now, if I shot a doe or a younger buck, I might be thinking about going back out and getting another one regardless. But I'm also thinking about the deer management and the herd and trying to grow those big bucks. I know there's probably, that 12 point probably got around to a couple does if at minimum during the rut. So I'm thinking a couple does are carrying a good bloodline and I want to continue. And then we'll finish this up. We've already been on the phone for an hour.
Yeah. Favorite memories? I don't know. My memories kind of got burnt through family drama from being a kid. But probably shooting my buck with deer, man. That was the most work I put into killing and, having a successful hunt. A lot of trial and error trees, hanging stands in trees and kind of narrowing down what trails get used when. And then a lot of that, though, I will say, had a lot to do with the rut. I got lucky that I had to stand in that spot, which it was a good spot. It was 10 yards from a trail in some foliage, so I had really good cover.
Right.
It was really cool to see how putting everything I learned into a scenario, seeing how that worked, and then being successful off of that was pretty fucking cool.
It's pretty fulfilling.
Other times are cool, but
yeah, I would have to say
it sucks sometimes. So
I'd have to say my hunt this last year where I killed my buck was my favorite memory hunting. I mean, I got a lot of good memories hunting. It doesn't even matter if it's just deer hunting. Like you said, putting in the work and then seeing it come to fruition, that just felt amazing. And now that I've got him back, and me and my dad are going to figure out how to put him on the pedestal, since he's so tall, I can't hang him on the drywall down here because it'll rip the drywall right off. But
you put him in the studs.
I don't have a stud finder other than myself.
Do $10.
Nah, I want him on a pedestal anyways.
Okay.
I already got the pedestal, so. But yeah, we'll see if the elk hunt I go on in 2023 tops it. But at this point, I'm bracing myself and preparing myself to just go do a bunch of hiking and get a lot of good footage of scenery and signs.
Oh, dude, that was the biggest struggle we had. Was
finding signs.
The biggest struggle we had was we had to keep our focus on hunting because we wanted to go hike. We wanted to go explore. Hey, what's around that bend? What's in that? What's behind that rock?
Well,
to check out that tree.
There's a couple channels that I've seen the last 2 days that they were out there elk hunting, and they're saying, like, if you see somewhere where you want to go, that there might be a possibility an elk's down there, don't wait, just go fucking see it. And if it's not there, then you know what, you bugle, you keep working, you keep going different places.
Yeah, that's why you gotta cover as much ground as possible. And that's another thing is, if anybody's planning on buying or going on one of these Western hunts, you need seriously, like, fuel, tag, pack, extremely important, boots, extremely important. Next thing that's the most important thing that you're going to need, other than survival shit,
is a GPS.
No, glass. Well, yeah, if you don't know how to use a fucking map, then yeah, bring a GPS.
You mean like binos, the glass?
A hard map too. A paper map.
Yeah, do you mean like glass, like binos up on a ridge?
Binoculars, depending on where you are, spotting scope. Colorado, we could have used one. Would have been pretty nice.
I'm not real good with spotting scopes.
We had really nice binos. Not like Swarovski or whatever the fuck, $3,000 binos. We had nice Maven, $500 pair of binos. They were nice, but they weren't.
I mean, Vortex makes pretty good binos.
Vortex, Leopold, I never heard of Maven. My brother showed me them.
I forget what I have. The pair I have are actually pretty good. I just don't remember the brand name. It's not like it's an off-brand or a no-name. It's just not as known as other brands are, but it's still a decent set of binoculars. But all right, well, I'll be home next weekend, so maybe I'll see you then.
Okay, yeah, if I'm not working, I'll go home. I want to get another hunt in, maybe, and see everybody. I haven't seen everybody in a while.
Yeah, I need to get out and go shed hunting too before Zach gets down there and steals them all from me. But
yeah, I wanted to get some of that too.
But
with that much snow they got right now, what's the point? You're not gonna be able to see it. 15 inches.
Well, I got hammered yesterday down here, and they ended up. I was supposed to go to a middle school and do some observation hours for my graduate program, and they ended up canceling the school for students. So then I went home and just sent my questions or whatever to the teacher I was supposed to sit in with on email. And I told Mom it was almost white out around 6 to 9 o'clock in the morning yesterday. It was almost whiteout conditions down here, but I'm driving that truck now, so I wasn't too concerned about driving back and forth. And the school's 4 miles from here. I texted Mom and said, got sent home, yada yada. What's the weather like up there? And she said, it's snowing. We got maybe 1 or 2 inches. That's it. It's pretty clear right now. I was like, I'm getting hammered.
That's what my brother told me too. But it wasn't too bad, but it was snowing, and this would have been that night. It left yesterday evening.
Yeah, my cousin was supposed to come down this morning early to go trail riding in his side by side, which he enclosed it so they keep some heat in. And he was going to be like 30 minutes from me probably. And he ended up texting me back earlier today, and he said they canceled because the landowners canceled because of the weather and temperature. I mean, it was like 20 degrees today.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold today. No doubt about that. It's cold.
And it was windy. But
I haven't really been outside today.
Yeah, but well, how's it feel to be the first one on the podcast?
I don't know. It's weird. First podcast.
Yeah, let's see what it turns into, right?
Yeah, I mean, can't expect too much from a couple little hillbilly childs, but.
Right, that's all I'm starting out as, a little hillbilly. But, all right, buddy. Well, we'll talk to you probably here in a little bit, a couple days maybe.
Yeah, probably. All right, boy. I'll check you later.
Yep, thanks.
Yep, see you.
See you, buddy. So wrapping up here, Lane knows more about Colorado elk hunting than I do because he's been there. He got a nice buck this year. I still don't remember what it looks like, though. He hunts property that we all grew up playing and riding dirt bikes, four-wheelers on. He lives up in Toledo area, works in a refinery as a scaffold builder. His union tag is carpenter. Been buddies with him forever. Played soccer together senior year of high school. Beat on each other growing up, whatever. When we graduated, he went to the Army as a Cav Scout, and he was stationed down, I think he said Fort Hood, Texas. I don't remember which place. He said Central Texas. I don't know where Hood's at, but he was in Texas and Korea. He got out and came back here and moved up there to work. Hopefully he moves back towards Carrollton, where we all grew up here soon. I don't know what my plan's going to be. There's a couple different ideas in the works, but that's another day. So this is the first episode of Grindstone Adventures podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. Me and Lane have BS conversations like that all the time, especially when we're in person. So stay tuned for podcast 2. There'll be a teaser on who it'll be and what it'll entail down the road. Shoot your bows. Have a good time. Out.